Hi there, this is Pride Weekly. We'll start with Monday. A neo-Nazi's been convicted of a hate crime murder after stabbing a gay Jewish student 28 times. The body of 19-year-old Blaise Bernstein was found days after he went missing in a park in California in 2018. It's thought he'd met with Samuel Woodward for a hookup. His ex-classmate was a member of the neo-Nazi Atomwaffen group. After the verdict, Blaise's mother, Jeannie Pepper Bernstein, paid tribute to her son.
There will never be anyone quite like him. His gifts will never be realized or shared now. Blaise's death was a horrific tragedy for our family and friends. We believe that justice has been served and that Blaise's memory will be honored through this outcome.
Woodward, who's 26, is due to be sentenced in October. He's looking at life in prison with no parole. A queer museum documenting Poland's LGBTQ+ history is opening in Warsaw this autumn. It'll be only the third of its kind in Europe and the fifth in the world. Among the items on display, a plaque commemorating queer victims of World War II. Poland's consistently ranked worst in the European Union for LGBTQ+ rights, but the new-ish Liberal governments promise to address this. And Jason Mraz has been talking about why he didn't come out as bisexual till he was in his 40s. The singer says when he was a teenager in the 1990s, being gay was like the punchline of a joke, so he just kept his head down. He was also held back by growing up in conservative Virginia in the US. But having come out as bi in 2018, he says he feels like his life is just starting. It's Pride Daily for Tuesday. A rabbi who led America's biggest LGBTQ+ synagogue for 32 years has retired. Sharon Kleinbaum's guided CBST in New York through the likes of the AIDS crisis, marriage equality and the erosion of queer rights. The 65-year-old, who's a lesbian, also spearheaded the setting up of an immigration clinic to help LGBTQ+ refugees get asylum in the US. Here she is telling AOL about the thinking behind the synagogue's creation.
That it was possible to be both deeply Jewish and openly gay. We are trying to create a progressive religious community. We're committed to being involved in issues of social justice, and therefore central to our religious belief, we believe God demands of us to fight against oppression for all.
With that in mind, Rabbi Kleinbaum's been arrested a number of times in protests for the rights of queer people, women, immigrants and others. A retirement party reeled in the great and the good, including stars from Broadway and Hillary Clinton. A gay British-Mexican man convicted of drugs charges in Qatar is appealing. Manuel Guerrero Avina believes he was targeted because of his sexuality. The 44-year-old claims police planted amphetamines on him after using Grindr to set him up. Homosexuality is illegal in the Middle Eastern country. Avina also says he was tortured and his HIV meds were withheld. And Japan's first ever gay dating show starts today on Netflix. The Boyfriends got 9 men sharing a beach house for a month to see what develops. Producers hope it'll encourage more queer acceptance in Japan, where being out can be difficult and there's still no marriage equality. It's Pride Daily for Wednesday. A gay man's complaint against the church he says put him through an exorcism to stop him being homosexual has been upheld. Matthew Draper claims he was made to undergo conversion therapy in 2014 by St Thomas Philadelphia Church in Sheffield in the UK. He told the BBC there was a prayer session aimed at ridding his body of the devil.
They gave me prayers in which I was to renounce my agreement with Satan and to renounce the demons of homosexuality that I'd allowed into my life. They even told me that they could see those demons going out of the window of the room that we were in.
Matthew lodged his complaint after feeling forced out of his leadership role at the church because of his sexuality. His claims have been independently investigated by safeguarding experts at Barnardo's.
And they finally did release the report, having interviewed a lot of ex-members of the church and kind of looked at the culture of the church. They said all aspects of my complaint had been upheld, and that was an incredible thing to read.
The Diocese of Sheffield says the findings of the report are being accepted in full. A European Union official says he went back into the closet for the more than 2 years he was held by Iran on spying charges. You can be executed there for being gay, so when Johan Flodorus was locked up in 2022, he kept his sexuality to himself. The 33-year-old, who's Swedish, says thinking about his now fiancé Jonathan kept him alive. He was freed last month. Sweden and the EU have called the spying claims fabricated. And there's a push to get a road in Australia renamed after Kylie and Danny Minogue. A petition's been started to make Minogue Lane a thing in Melbourne, where the sisters are from. It says they deserve the accolade for their unwavering advocacy, love and support for queer people. It's Pride Daily for Thursday. The remains of a teenage transgender girl have been found in and around a lake in the US. Paulie Likens died after they were hit over the head in Pennsylvania. Police not currently treating this as a hate crime, but the 14-year-old's family and LGBTQ+ groups believe it was. Paulie's been described as a selfless and loving person who liked to play pranks. Their father Paul tells WKBN27 when he couldn't reach the teenager by phone, he feared the worst.
I went straight to voicemail and something told me that was wrong. Something was going on. I knew, but I still had that hope. The world lost a little shine the day Paulie was taken from us.
Deshaun Watkins, who's 29, is charged with murder, amongst other things. A candlelit vigil to remember Paulie's planned by the local community this weekend. An anti-queer priest has been cancelled by the Pope. Carlo Maria Vigano has been publicly slating his boss for years, including when he called him a servant of Satan, which is surely a heavy metal band. The Archbishop was very against attempts by Pope Francis to be more LGBTQ+ inclusive, and he's now been excommunicated. And the world's biggest gathering of queer singers and choirs is taking place in Minneapolis. It's the Gala Choruses Festival, which happens every 4 years in America, creating a space for LGBTQ+ people to perform and express themselves. 7,000 singers and 122 choirs are expected from countries including China, Ukraine, Estonia and Mexico. I won't be taking part, as my singing sounds like fighting cats. It's Pride Daily for Friday. Sunday's International Non-Binary People's Day to big up the community and raise awareness. So, here's the teaching moment. You're welcome. Non-binary means someone who doesn't identify exclusively as a man or a woman. Maybe they see themselves as both or neither, and this could be a fluid thing, it's not nailed down. Basically, gender for them goes beyond the binary of being either male or female. The day is marked on July 14th because it's exactly halfway between International Women's Day and International Men's Day. These non-binary people tell the BBC some things you shouldn't say to them.
Are you a boy or a girl?
Is it he or she or they or what?
That's so in right now to be like #gender fluid.
Where do you shop, in the men's or the women's section?
Or unisex? Unisex! That word needs to die!
The non-binary flag has 4 stripes. There's yellow for people outside of the binary, while white is those with multiple genders. Purple's for people who are a mix of male and female, or feel in between. And black is those who don't identify with any gender. After the daughter of Cameroon's president came out recently, she says hopefully it'll help change the law there, banning gay sex. Brenda Beer posted a photo of herself kissing another woman on Instagram, who she's been together with for 8 months. The 26-year-old says Cameroon's anti-gay law is unfair and you can send a strong message by coming out. She also says her parents didn't know she's queer and they've ghosted her. And Sam Smith has updated the lyrics to Stay With Me to reflect their non-binary identity. The line, "But I still need love because I'm just a man," becomes, "But I still need love, baby, understand." The singer came out as non-binary in 2019, and says it's beautiful to know that sometimes we can change the past. I'm Kev McGrath. See you Monday.